Hello fellow Sudokans and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku Puzzle. It's Monday the 2nd of October 2023. I hope you are keeping well, ready to face the week if it's Monday morning where you are now, as it is here in Bangkok. What's going on in the world? Some bad news for Ukraine. The US has not included any funding in its continuing resolution, just this bill to keep the government open for another month or so. Let's hope that it realizes the error of its ways before long. Joe Biden is already calling for the Republicans to reconsider, and absolutely they need to. It's very important. And in addition, Slovakia has got a new government coming up, and that particular government, I heard a spokesman. I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't go back to sleep, so I listened to the radio and I heard a BBC interview with a spokesperson from the new Slovakia, and he asked her if they were pro-Putin, and she said, oh, no, we're not pro-anybody. And then he asked her a series of questions. Each answer that she gave demonstrated clearly that they are pro-Russia, absolutely pro-Russia. It was hilarious. And then she still denied it at the end. It was so funny. Anyway, there's that. And just to prove that the US is not the only country with politicians with IQs in single digits, there is, of course, Grant Shapps, the newly appointed Defence Secretary in the UK, moron another, who has said that the UK is considering putting in troops to train other troops in Ukraine, sending troops, UK troops, to Ukraine. I mean, this man has failed so many times before. Remember, he is also a liar, a proven liar, not alleged, but actually proven in a previous case. So, what are we going to do? Us ordinary human beings living in a world of moronic politicians who just, I don't know. Most of them are on the right. Not all of them are on the right, but most of them are. Anyway, what are we going to do? We're going to play Sudoku. That's what we're going to do. And this could be your first time attempting the game, because today is our easy level game, our Monday beginner level game. You might be playing this on a Monday now, or you might be playing this sometime in the future, because it's in the list of easy games for you to practice. So I will be explaining the rules. Hopefully you've already seen one game before, but if not, never mind. Today you can see how to play the game very briefly, because it doesn't take long to learn the rules. Okay, so what are the rules of the game? Well, you can see this grid, 9x9 grid, 9 squares across, 9 squares down, and then there are these 9 squares that are outlined by a black line, and there are 9 of those. All right, you can see those. The objective of the game is to put digits 1 to 9 in each row or each column or each block. Now, some blocks, like the one I'm highlighting here, already have a lot of digits in, and then some blocks, like this one here, don't have many or sometimes no digits in. This only has 1. You might be thinking, oh, that means it's easy to find a number here and difficult to find a number here. Not necessarily. So how do we go about filling in the numbers? Well, we use logic. We don't use maths. What we say to ourselves is we look around and we consider where the numbers are, and we especially remember that a number can appear once only. Because there are 9 squares and we put numbers 1 to 9, a number can appear once only in its row, column or block. So for example, let's get started. This block here doesn't have any 4 in it yet, so we need to put a 4 somewhere. Where can a 4 go? Now, if we are playing on the computer, it's quite useful. I use the computer because it's easier to highlight for you, the viewer, than if I'm playing on pen and paper, which I did at the beginning of this. When I started this channel a couple of years ago, I was playing on pen and paper at that time, but with a camera. But it's quite tricky for me to do that. But also, I think just because I can highlight on the screen, it's kind of much easier for me to show, to demonstrate. So now, when I click on the computer, when I click on a 4, all the 4s light up. When I click on a 3, all the 3s light up. You can see how they light up like this. So if I click on this 4 and the 4s light up, there are 2 that I'm interested in, this one here and this one here. And why am I interested in them? Because let's go in this direction of this block down here. Now it means that 4 cannot reappear in any of these blue squares here because we already have 4 in this column, and this 4 likewise does this down to the bottom here, right? So these 5 empty squares cannot contain a 4 because of these 2 4s up here. Now you can see obviously there's already a... Oh, I've just realized something. I haven't clicked on the start button. Hold on. That's better. Let me change to black. I've forgotten to click on the start button. Doesn't matter. Same thing. Just the numbers changed from... it's just I forgot to start. Right, so 4's blocking down like this. So this, because we have a black 1 and a black 7 here, doesn't matter what color they are, 1 and a 7 are already filled in. We know that this is going to be a 4, and that's going to be blue because that's one of our numbers as opposed to one of the numbers that are preset on the grid. That's what happened when I forgot to hit the start button there. That's obviously the only square where the 4 can appear. Got it? So that's how we basically what we need to do. Let's look at this block up here and consider digit 8 to go in one of these 5 empty squares. We've got 4 numbers already placed. We've got 5 empty squares. So we'll highlight the 8s, and I'll give you a moment to look at it, but remember the rows and the columns are what's going to help. So, okay, so this 8 blocks up this column, and this 8 blocks up this column here. We can go to the end, it doesn't matter, but we've got 4 and 6 already there. So we can see, in fact, there's just 1 empty square there, so the 8 must appear in that square. Okay, I think we're getting it now. Let's do it slightly differently. Look along this column here, this column here, right? Now we have 5 empty squares in this column. We have 1, 3, 4, and 7. We don't yet have an 8. But if you look at this 8 blocks both of those squares. When I say blocks, I mean it doesn't allow an 8 to appear in any other square within the block because we can only have a number once. So neither this square nor this square could be 8. And now we've got an 8 blocking across this row, and we've got an 8 blocking across this row. So in this column, look, there's only 1 empty square, only 1 possible place where the 8 can go in this column. So we know it goes there. Wasn't that nice? In this column, we have 7 blocking all the way to the top like this, and 7 blocking all the way across here like this. So again, just 1 empty square where the 7 can go. And now this 1 blocks all the way to the top here, leaving just 1 location for the 1. So in that case, we only needed 1 number because now we have quite a few restrictions already made. And so we could see just by using that 1 number up here, we managed to find only 1 square available. Okay. Now, when we see a block with only 2 numbers missing, it's a good idea to inspect it and see what goes in here because that can often help, especially on beginner level games or easy level games. So what don't we yet have? We don't yet have 2 and 9. We see everything else, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We don't have 2 or 9. And when we notice there's a 9 over here blocking all the way across, we know that this cannot be 9, so this is 9, and of course this has to be 2 because it's our last number for that block. So now we have a complete block, a block completed, all digits filled in here. And now we've just got 2 empty squares down here, so it's a good idea to investigate and see what's missing. And when we look along this block here and see what's missing, we see that it's 5 and 6. Now actually we can't say which is which here. We don't know which is 5 and which is 6, but that's the game. We have to look, and sometimes we find and sometimes we don't find. So that's how we play. And by the way, if you are new to the channel, I play these games live. I don't have any I don't work out anything ahead of time. I don't practice or anything like that. So I'm playing the game live. Now, okay, I want to show you that it's good to kind of think ahead as well. So what do I mean by that? We're gonna place a 4 in this square here. Now, how am I doing? Now, one thing to remember is please don't guess. We cannot guess. But we need to. I've seen that a 4 goes in this square. Don't forego the logic, please. Right. So how do we know? Well, we've got 4 blocking across here like this. We've got 4 blocking up here. We've got 4 blocking down here. So this 4 is going to block all the way to the end, right? Now, it looks like we have 2 possibilities, right? 4 could go in one of these 2 white squares. But it's not true. Because when we examine this block here, we find that the 4 blocks across here. So 4 must be either in this square or this square, right? We don't know which one. It could be here. It could be there. We don't know. But it's in one of those 2. And whichever one it appears in, that will block across here. So this definitely cannot be 4. 4 must be in that square there. Right, so that's the kind of logic that we need. So we need to be thinking ahead, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, you could rewind and watch it again. I'm sure it will make sense. It's not that, I don't think it's that difficult to follow. Down here, I can see that we need a 6 in this square here. How do I see that? Because I see the 6's blocking across, and you will too. Right, 6 blocking across and across, so that means that has to be a 6 there. Now, are there any other easy peasy things to notice? Yes, there's a 3 blocking across here and a 3 going up here. Now, of course, if you are new to the game, it will take you a little while to find these numbers, probably. But, you know, just a bit of practice and you'll be there, I promise you. 1 blocking across here puts the 1 into that square there. I said when we have 2 numbers missing, we should investigate what goes there. What goes there? It's a 2 and a 5. Well, we look down here and yes, indeed, we find we have an intersecting 2. So the 2 blocks up there, and we know that that is going to be 2 and that is going to be our 5. So now we have 2 blocks filled in. Let's have a look here and see what's missing in this row. We've got 1, 2, 3. We don't have 4. We've got 5, 6. We don't have 7. So 4 and 7 must be in these squares to complete the 1 to 9 series here. And have we got 4 or 7 when we look down here? Yeah, you've seen it. We've got 7 blocking up there. So that's going to be the 7, and that is going to be the 4. Are there any other places where we only have 2 digits missing? No, there aren't. But there are places where we have 3 digits missing, so we could look at those. We can look and see what 3 numbers will complete the series. We don't have 1, we don't have 2, and we don't have 3. Now down here we see 1, 2, and 3, but they're all in different columns, so that's not going to help us, because 1 could be in those squares, 2 could be in this square and this square, and 3 could be in those squares. So we can't say for sure which is which. What's missing from down here? We're looking for 6, 8, and 9. Now we've got a 6, we've got an 8, but we don't have a 9. So no, we can't do these, and we can't do these just yet as we look at the puzzle. So we need to look elsewhere. Are there any other places? There are 3 digits missing in this block here. We don't have 4, 6, and 9. Well, that in fact is going to help us up here, because 4s can appear in this square, these squares, 9s can appear in these squares, but 6 blocks up here. Now 6 can only be in this square or this square. Now I hope you are thinking ahead, as I just kind of demonstrated a while back. Let's take this 6 all the way to the top. And now because we know 6 is in one of these 2 squares, we can say it can't reappear in this column up here, right? 6 has to be here or here, so cannot appear up there. And now our 6 blocks across here like this, which will give us our 6 in that square there. Okay. Now we only have 2 numbers missing, which are 8 and 9, but we can't tell from down here which is 8 and which is 9, but at least we've got one more digit there. Now, if you are playing on a computer, it's often a good idea to go through the digits, count through 1 to 9. The reason we use 1, we don't have to use numbers, and there are, if you look on this channel, you'll find a channel called Weird Sudoku or something, where I don't use numbers. I use other logical tokens, items of food, and Roman numerals at one point, and other things like that. that I try to show that it's not about numbers, but we use numbers because it's easy to identify each one clearly, and we can count through and make sure we haven't missed any. So that's why we use numbers, really. So can we do anything more about if we highlight them on a computer? Can we do anything more about digit 1s? The answer is not really. And let's highlight the digit 2s and see if we can find anything more on the digit 2s. And the answer is no. And let's go through with the 3s and see if we can find anything else with the 3s. Something, but okay, not quite enough. Can we find the 4s? No, not as they stand. So this is a good way in, because it's not everything has been given to us super easily. It is an easy level game, but we need to look around the grid first of all. That's good. Not just giving us everything immediately. Okay, so 6 is the next number that we can find. Now, can you see where the 6, where we can place a 6? I'll give you 5 seconds. I have no idea if that was 5 seconds, but it felt like 5 seconds. I forgot to count. Right, I know where the 6 can go, and I think hopefully you may have seen it. You may have, you may not have. The thing to do is, but you will after a little bit of practice. The thing to do is to follow the columns. So we have 6 blocking up here. We have 6 blocking down here. We have 6 blocking down here. So look, in this row here, we have 3 intersecting 6s which block these 3 squares. So this square is empty. It's the only empty possibility where the 6 can go. Now I was going through the digits, so I'm going to but I'm going to stop for a moment. We'll come back in a minute, because I now notice that we have only 2 squares missing in this column. Probably it's a good idea to stop and have a look and see what's missing. What don't we yet have? We don't have 7 and 9 in these 2 squares for this column. This column is missing 7 and 9. We have 2 empty squares, so we need 7 and 9 here. So we need to look across, and guess what? When we see the 7 there, we see the 7 blocking that square. So we know 7 goes here, and 9 must be in that square there. And now if we look at the 7s again, 7 now blocks down here, which is going to put 7 into that square there. And we'll continue on with the 7s. We're on a lucky streak with the lucky 7. 7's blocking down like this, and 7 appears here. And now 7 across here, and 7 across here and down there. And this is the final digit 7. We now have 7 in every one of our small blocks, every row, every column. 7 is finished. We don't need to think about it anymore. Now we've got 2 empty squares in this row now, so we'll just look here and see what we need. We need a 2 and we need a 9. And guess what? We've got the 2 blocking this square here, so we know that's where the 2 goes, and that's where the 9 goes. Okay. Now there are 2 empty squares here. What goes in there? We're looking for 1, and we're looking for 5. But this time we are disappointed. We don't see anything across here that we can use. 1 or 5. There aren't any 1s or 5s intersecting, so we don't know. But we know that this contains 1 or 5. So if this is 1 on 5, what goes in these 2 squares here? Let's see what we have already, right? So we've got 1. Do we have 2? No. Do we have 3? No. We've got everything else. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so these 2 squares here must contain 2 or 3. Now you could actually also notice that 2 and 3 block down here. So 2 and 3 will be in those squares there. Now, in fact, we have a 2 blocking there, so we can say that that is our 2, and this is our 3. There are 2 empty squares down here. 1 and 5 go there, but we don't know which is which, so we have to come back at a later time and look again at that. Right, now, we've put in some numbers, so I think the grid has changed. I'm going to start looking through, counting through again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this, because the grid has altered a bit. Some things have changed, and now something might be easier to find. Let's see, yeah. So now we can place a 2 where we couldn't before. Now we can, because we have 2's blocking like this, and we can see that the 2 must go into that square. Now we'll take the 2's up to the top like so, and the 2 across there means that we can place our 2 there. Now I'm pretty sure we can get these, because I remember we had 3 numbers in those 3 squares. I don't remember what they were, but we had 3 numbers in those 3 squares, and we had the 3 numbers down here, so I'm pretty sure we can find these. So let's re-examine and see what we need. We need 1 and 3 for this row, and yeah, I was right, we had a 1 intersecting, so the 1 blocks up here, so that will be the 1, and that will be the 3. Now the 3 is useful because we can take the 3's down and down here and across here, and that means that the 3 will be in that square there. Okay, we've got 2 numbers missing here, 2 numbers missing here. We looked earlier up here. Let's have a quick re-examination. It's still 8, 9. No, that doesn't help. What do we need down here? We need a 5 and we need a 9, I think. 5 and 9. Any help on 5 or 9? Yes, we've got 9 blocking across there. So there's our 9 and there is our 5. Now let's go back this way, because now we can place a 5 there and we can finish this small grid with a 1, this block with a 1. Now there's 1 empty square here, and that will take a 4. The 4 will block up here, and that will give us the 4 in that square. Now some digits are already complete. 2, 4 and 7 are already finished, but the others not yet. Now missing numbers down here are going to be 1. Well, immediately we can see the 1 blocking there, so we get the 1 in that square, and the other number here is an 8, and the 8 is going to block up here, and that's going to give me an 8 in that square, and the missing number here is a 9, both for the column and for the row and for the block. Not I said both, but actually the 3 it's a 3-way thing. Right. Okay, not much more to go now. You can see we've done a large chunk of it. Now, in beginner level puzzles, that means we're going to finish pretty easily. But be warned, when you start getting onto the hard level games, even if you have only a few empty squares, sometimes it's really tough to finish. And that's the beauty of the game. So we have 4 empty squares here. What are we looking for? 3, 5, 8, 9. Well, we've got the 8 blocking across here like this, and the 8 blocking down. So that will be an 8, and now we've only got 1 number to fit here, which is a 3. And 5 blocks down here like this, so that will give the 5 there, and the 9 is the last number that we need there. 9 blocks up here, 9 blocks down there, that will give us the 9, or you could just look along this column and find the missing number, and it's 9. 9 blocks across here, here is our 9, that's the final digit, 9. And if you remember, if you think this is too fast, you just go back and play it again, watch it again. 6 is block across here, 6 blocks down here, there's the 6. But once you get, played it a while, just even a short while, you'll get in to see what it means. This is a 5 for this column, 5 blocks across here, here's our 5. Missing number here is a 1, 1 blocks that way, here's our 1, and here is a 3. And that is the end of our easy level game of Sudoku from The Guardian. Every Monday we have a beginner level puzzle here in The Guardian. Thank you very much for joining me, and stick around. Don't forget, practice as much as you can. It's a great game. Bye bye.